All right, here we go, down to the finish line, down the stretch they come in the Sioux Falls mayoral runoff election this Tuesday, June 23rd. Early voting has started already, and so welcome to a special edition of Happy Hour with John Gaskins from the Orion Pub in downtown Sioux Falls. It is Thursday, so it still is a Thirsty Thursday, even though we had Thirsty Thursday with Trent Singer on a Wednesday yesterday to make room for this discussion with Patrick Lalley, our chief, our knight in shining armor, the editor of Sioux Falls Live. Cheers.
Thank you, John. It's an exciting time, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's been a little crazy with what's been happening. But it hasn't been like in a normal sort of campaign when things get crazy. It's, candidates lobbing charges back and forth.
Yeah.
And maybe a nasty mailer here or there and that kind of stuff. That hasn't been that way in this mayoral election. It's been crazy for other reasons that have a lot to do with the calendar.
Oh, well, okay.
And,
that will be part of our discussion.
I've written on that extensively.
Yes, you have.
So it's nuts.
You've written on all these things extensively, but that's why partly we're here on Happy Hour, especially if you're listening to the podcast. We appreciate that. But if you live in Sioux Falls and really feel like you have a vested interest in the community, and certainly if you complain about things all the time, like construction or parking or the way we all pay for that kind of thing, and taxes and public safety, and hey, maybe you can be illuminated on a daily basis with a subscription to Sioux Falls Live. That's our little drop in there.
And you get some sports.
You get some sports. This man is writing about all the things going on in the city and state politics, government, current events. But yes, Matt Zimmer, Trent Singer holding down the fort, all the sports writing. And certainly it's a way for you to watch this show. Thanks to video producer Cordell Wright at SiouxFallsLive.com. And by the way, later on in the show, you will be able to listen to or watch my chat with Ben Lieber.
Oh, Big Ben.
Minnesota Vikings loyalty and a South Dakota Sports Hall of Famer. Did I say Minnesota Vikings loyalty or royalty?
A little both.
True.
Did you? Is he still doing sideline reporting for radio broadcast?
He sure is.
Okay.
Yeah, and
he's good.
He's excellent because he's both a sideline reporter and an analyst. I mean, he played for the Vikings. Yep. He played 10 years in the NFL. He's got an analyst's mind, but he also has the action right down on the sideline. Rare access to the locker room and probably to more of the reality, not the gossip, within the Minnesota Vikings organization, which makes him perfect for every conversation like the one we're having today, which will spend a good chunk on the Kyler Murray, J.J. McCarthy quarterback quandary. Who doesn't love a quarterback quandary? Yeah.
I didn't realize Ben played that many years in the NFL.
You got it. 10. A full decade.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
He was something else, man.
You're doing something right.
Yeah.
6 of them in the Vikings purple. So.
Out of Vermilion, South Dakota.
That's right. He was a tanager. He was a running back. He was a linebacker playing in the Dakota Dome. Kansas State Wildcats. And, he's a cool guy with some great insight. And we're in that mini camp to training camp kind of
dead zone.
Thank you. But the minicamp just got over, and there's a lot of questions heading into the season. So look forward to that. There have been how many of mayoral debates now just in the runoff stage, head-to-head, Christine Erickson and Jamie Smith?
Well, Jamie said the other day that they've done 17, I think, joint appearances, and it's more than that now. So, but that's not like debates. We had a debate on Friday to a packed house at Town Hall, and you can watch that at Sioux Falls Live and replay.
You know what? I was just doing that to get ready for this chat.
Yeah, were you?
Well done. You were one of the two panelists.
I was one of the two panelists with Megan Raposa of Sioux Falls Simplified. It was really her idea, and she sort of made everything happen. I just showed up, but it was that was a bigger one. The Chamber had one yesterday. Last night that I went to, the Rotary Club had kind of a joint appearance that was a big one out at the Alliance. But there's some smaller ones that they do. It's a lot. And at this point, their answers are so down that there's not a lot new.
Okay.
For Megan and I, having that debate at town hall with the League of Women Voters and the Dakota Scout was big because it was the only one that was really accessible to the general public, that you didn't need to be a member for, or anybody could come and watch, and it was on all the city channels, and it still is, and the city has great technical ability to broadcast those things, and so it looks and sounds real good, and it was really fun.
Well, let's kind of do the mayoral runoff 101. These were the two candidates that had the most votes, but neither of them had enough votes to just win it outright. So here we have a runoff, and Christine had the most votes. Jamie Smith had the second most. Christine, 10 years in public service between the state legislature and
the council,
the city council here in Sioux Falls.
Only 2 years in the legislature, 8 on the council.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And she's been the president of the South Dakota Truckers Association.
And auto dealers. It's kind of combined together.
Small business owner. Well, that's what she calls herself.
Yeah.
And
I'm not calling any question on that.
Of
That's
no
true.
relevant note. Well, do you know what business it is?
I think she's primarily like short-term rentals, property management, that kind of thing.
All right.
Yeah.
And of no relevant note, in my opinion, to the election, she is the sister of maybe the greatest kicker of all time.
NFL Hall of Famer.
Adam Vinatieri, who will be inducted into the Hall of Fame in a couple months in Canton, Ohio. Greatest kicker of all time. Jamie Smith, of course, ran for governor, Democrat, in 2022, lost to Kristi Noem's re-election bid. He has resurfaced in the city that he has called his home pretty much his whole life.
His whole life, yep, born and raised.
And as you mentioned last time, he's had all kinds of jobs. He's a guy with a job and spends a lot of time out in the community, being a part of the community.
Absolutely.
In many different volunteering ways.
Yes. Absolutely. And, one of the things that comes up in these debates, these forums, is that the notion of leadership, executive leadership style. And Christine talks about the pieces of her resume that you just pointed out. And Jamie often talks about, being the head of the church council and, running a Cub Scout troop. And I don't mean to knock that, but also being a legislative leader. But I was talking to Jeff Griffin from the Chamber of Commerce last night, in an interview that you can see at Sioux Falls Live right now, and that was what stuck out to him, like that idea, the different leadership styles, and that's one of the few like real differences that you see. Are you all right?
I'm okay. I was going to ask Nate to turn down the music just a bit, but
he'll come back.
I know. I'm seeing. He is the bartender, so I know he's coming back. Sorry about that.
It's going to be okay, John.
I'm just trying to ensure the highest quality possible.
I understand. No, I get you.
We have for our viewers.
Yeah, I hear you.
Go on. Sorry, boss.
No. But it's, I don't know. It's been kind of a tame runoff election in some ways. Compared to past runoffs. There really hasn't been a lot of charging and counter-charging. It's more been about who's involved. Like, I mean, the biggest controversy in the mayor's race right now is that Toby Doeden inserted himself into it, who's running for governor. And then Larry Roden, they both endorsed Christine. As I wrote the other day, that doesn't necessarily help her.
Yeah.
It helps them.
Yeah.
Like, don't fool yourself here, okay? This is not something that is being done to Christine's benefit.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. I mean,
No,
obviously those guys think so. Why do you not think so?
Because nothing good can come of it for Christine.
The layman's devil's advocate thing would be, there are still probably more, even though this is a nonpartisan race, we all know she's a Republican, and there are more Republicans that live here than Democrats, and
Yeah, but
they're
there's
trying
a
to get
huge chunk of independents.
True, and maybe
This is the thing you need to remember about that too, is that this is not Aberdeen. This is not Huron.
Yeah.
Well, not even Huron. It's not South Dakota. It's Sioux Falls, and the demographics are just different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, you might have a lot of Republicans. They're still they're not that far ahead of independents in the city, or non-affiliated voters or libertarian like others, right? That dynamic is different
when it comes to registered voters. Yes.
Yes, and so it's not as easy as that. And of course, as we know, Mr. Doeden is a devotee of the president, who's not the most popular guy in the world right now. So
going out on a limb there, Patrick.
If I'm a mayoral candidate, I don't necessarily want. She's gonna get those votes. Right? The people who are going to vote for Roden and Doeden are going to vote for Christine. She didn't need them to tell them that. What happens is you've got somebody who doesn't see her in that light, a MAGA light, for lack of a better term, because she's not. Now they might say, well, I don't like Toby Doeden. I'm going to vote for Jamie. Now, that's, there's a lot of steps to that, and most voters don't take that many steps. So in the end, it probably doesn't change that much, but it is the only, it's probably the biggest thing that people are talking about in the mayor's race right now.
Yeah, because they do seem like two very nice people who genuinely care about the community and
absolutely.
lived here a long time. Hearing some of the debate on Friday, there's these nuanced differences that they kind of have, but they don't seem to be this diametrically opposed pair. It appears to me, being very 101 layman, like the city will be in pretty decent hands, no matter who they elect. And so, the more dramatic part of this piece is just the guys running for governor, and particularly Toby Doeden trying to scorch the earth and lay down the hammer on, again, what is supposed to be a nonpartisan race, a Republican in Greg Jamison and an independent in Joe Batchellor,
right,
who backed the Democratic candidate,
Jamie
Smith.
Yeah.
And so I'll spin this to how much does the endorsement of those two guys, who are both not Democrats, help Jamie Smith in, again, what should be a nonpartisan election?
Well, I think it helps him in the idea that you've got in Joe Batchellor and Greg Jamison multi-generational community-based families. There are a lot of Jamisons. There are a lot of Batchellors who are in this community and have histories here, and long histories of public service to the community in whatever way. So, that matters, right? And it matters less that Greg's a Republican, right? When you start talking about a mayoral race. Jamie's issue with party affiliation is that he was everybody knows he's a Democrat. He can't sort of take on a neutral tone necessarily, because he ran for governor as a Democrat. Now, he did pretty well in the race against Noam in the city. His numbers are pretty good, which is another indicator that this is not the state, right? Now, there's still Republicans here, and that a lot of them, but they, in my brain, and I could be wrong, they aren't nearly the they're not the populist wing and all that stuff. Some of those people lost their elections for legislature, so in the end, it doesn't help Christine to have high-profile, hard-right Republicans backing her in a mayoral race. It just is not helping her. And they're not doing it to help her. Toby Doeden didn't do this to help her. This is what he does. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's actually really smart. He associates himself, with or without permission, with popular right-leaning Republicans, like Marty Jackley. Sent out a mailer with Marty Jackley's picture on it saying how great Marty Jackley is. There's an insinuation there that Marty also thinks Toby's great. That conversation never happened. So it's not just Marty Jackley, but this is what he does. It helps him. It doesn't help her.
And by the way, we could dive more into that next month when there will be a gubernatorial.
Well, and that's
runoff.
really what we're talking about here is that Roden and Doeden are fighting over the biggest chunk of Republicans in the state because this is where the people live, and neither one of them have deep roots here, right? Toby Doeden showed up at our debate the other night. Well, why? He's not a voter. He and his family took 3 seats from people who do have a vote. He had every right to be there. I'm not saying that, but it was weird.
It was interesting because I was wondering if at all he was doing this in response to your column, saying, hey, this is our city, basically butt out of our mayoral election. And he just wanted to double down and butt right in.
Maybe, but he didn't say anything to me. So
or that he was. I don't know.
You have to ask Joe Sneevy that because Joe talked to him.
Gotcha. That's fine. And it really doesn't. Well, I don't really think it is germane to this conversation we're having about Tuesday's runoff.
Also one of my most popular columns in recent memory.
Go ahead and read it. Patrick Lalley at SiouxFallsLive.com on Toby Doeden sticking his nose in the mayoral race.
And I stand by it.
Yeah. Well, I guess a brief synopsis for those who didn't read it.
Just stay out of our election.
Yeah.
You got no business here.
And so what I'd love to know from our last discussion, which came the day after the June 2nd elections.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about, obviously, what the gubernatorial results meant with Doeden and Roden being 1 and 2.
Doty Rody?
Doty Rody, baby. They're square enough. Howdy doody, whatever.
In the octagon.
And what this and what Jamie and Christine being the top 2 candidates meant. But part of what you said in that discussion, it's only been 3 weeks, but as you said, there have been many forums they've had together where hopefully they distinguished themselves some, but they hadn't at that point on June 3rd. Have you been able to decipher differences between the two and how they feel on some of the more important issues or differences in what they feel are priorities? Is there anything as a guide purely from what they're saying and leaning on?
Toby Rody or Christy Jamie?
Jamie and Christine.
It's really that idea of experience and leadership. They're not talking about necessarily about policies. There's a little bit with like homelessness. Jamie doesn't like the big signs saying don't give away cash. She said it makes it look like we have a big problem that we don't. And so they talk. Christine talks a lot about things that are and are not the government's responsibility and the degree to which the government is responsible for things like childcare or homelessness or any of these things.
And by government, she partly means taxpayer money.
Yeah, it was city government.
Yes.
Yeah.
And me paying for those.
And Jamie, his message is that I'm the mayor for all people. You're all welcome. I use the Pride festivities as an example quite often. Jamie was in the parade and has been, not shy about his support of Pride. Christine, I don't think was in the parade.
She was not.
But she talks about inclusion and really saying that there is no place in her administration or in this city for discrimination of any kind, and that she knows of some very terrible stories of bigotry against LGBTQ plus people. Now, she doesn't get very specific on it, other than to say there's no place for discrimination. that's a small difference, right? And that's not to try and paint Christine as a bigot, because I don't think she is. It's just a difference in style and approach, I think, with that, and appealing to a constituency.
Well, here's what that says to me. And look, the 2 mayors ago, Mike Huther, there wasn't a parade when he was mayor, but there was a festival, and he would be there.
Yep.
And that was him showing that community, that ever-growing community in our city, that same thing message Jamie's trying to send by being in the parade. I am all for you. We want all of you here. Not just, we're not going to discriminate against you. We want you here. You're an important part of our city. You are seen and you are welcome. And
how many people do you figure were at the parade, though? It was huge.
Several thousand at least. I don't know.
Huge.
Yeah, I mean it was monster. Yes.
Okay.
And so that kind of thing, the presence of someone and lack thereof, leaves an immense impression on the people that were there. And Mayor Paulton Hankin never once came to one of those.
No.
First couple of years he was asked about it and would always say he had a conflict, a family vacation, and after that we just got used to him not showing up.
And what he would say in the end is, it was clear that he was not going to go.
Yes.
But what he would say was, and this is probably crafted after much introspection. It's not disingenuous when he says, this city is full of all kinds of different people. And he would sorry, go ahead. And I don't have to agree with everybody or how they live their life to run the city and to do it in everybody's best interests.
Yeah.
That was a kind of crafted way to say, it's not a lifestyle I agree with, and I'm not going to get behind it because it's not what I believe in. But that doesn't mean that people aren't welcome.
I agree with you.
So that's a tough, and he didn't get off to a good first step, and so that's a tough thing to come back from. Christine, I think, saw that. She knows that never played well, and she's taken a little bit different tactic without saying it's not a lifestyle. She doesn't say those things, but at the same time, I didn't see her at Pride. It's not a litmus test of popularity if you go to Pride or not, but it is a message, right?
Yes, and
Okay.
it could notch Jamie some votes because, I don't know how many votes. You see, there are thousands of people at that parade, and I don't know how many of them.
10 to 15,000.
10 to 15,000. And how many of those people in the parade already had their minds made up about mayor or not? I don't know. But these are, and by the way, just, I don't want to go off on a complete side rail tangent about the issue of the LGBTQ community and the Pride Parade, but it was a recent event. I think the presence matters, and what your presence or lack thereof does say certain things. And my translation, if you're not there, Ten Haken or Christine Erickson, who I would agree with you on all your assessment of their importance of inclusion for everybody in the city.
Yeah.
But to me, it's more of a political thing. It is, they're afraid of losing votes by being there.
Oh,
they're afraid of losing
exactly
votes by being there because, again, we go back to the partisan, the Democrat is not going to have any problems getting the votes of the LGBTQ plus community, no matter what state you're in any part of the country, what city you're in.
But we can take...
they're allies. That's what I was going to say. A lot of these people are allies. I think there's a misimpression of people who aren't familiar with the community, who don't like pride parades, who don't like pride in general. They think that all these people are LGBT. Most of the people there are people there to show support for that community, because some people in that community might not feel welcome to be themselves
and it's
in the city.
It's an expression of welcoming.
Yeah.
But let's and we could, like you say, you don't want to go too far down that one, but you can take that same concept and think about other segments of our society. And one of the things that I say all the time is that a lot of people who live here don't know who actually lives here. Right.
Yes.
And if you dig into it, you find out that there's all kinds of constituency groups. right? And so in this case, you could talk about LGBTQ plus. In another, you can talk about the immigrant community. You can talk about the refugee community. Completely different things. You can talk about people who just aren't from here, right? So here's a fun fact. From 2002 to this election, the number of registered voters in the city of Sioux Falls has doubled. 67,000 to 134,000. Some of that's birth and death. A lot of it is just people moving here, right? So you do have a constituency group that's from somewhere else. Then you have Old Sioux Falls. And so how do you balance all of these, make them all feel welcome? There's a segment of the community that's been here forever who doesn't feel that welcome anymore. It's a perception, right?
Yeah.
They don't like the growth. They don't like the traffic. They don't like all these different ethnicities, whatever, languages, all of it. But that's who's here. And if you're going to win a mayor's race, you can't just be that sort of, I'm not criticizing middle class male white Republicans. But you can't just be that. Clearly Paul Tenhaken is a lot of those things, but he had an appeal. And one of his appeals was that he had done, you cannot question the man's palmares in terms of actions in lifting up disadvantaged groups, working in the prison. When he was a kid, he taught English to refugee kids in Worthington. That's been part of his calling. And so you saw that guy had a heart, right?
Yes.
Without that part, it would have been tougher for him. Because people said, I just like him. He's a good person. That appealed to enough constituency groups, right? Now, Christine and Jamie are different in that people didn't really know who Paul was before he ran. But they know these two. Yeah. And they both have a track record. Christine's been in the public eye for a long time. If she was a bigot, it would have come out. You know what I mean? Or if she was anti-growth, or if she was, anti-religion, pick whatever it is. If she was any of those things, it would have come out, because you vote and you talk about hundreds of different things as a counselor and as a legislator and now as a candidate. So, back to what you're saying, because you're right, you can appeal to this group, but what does it mean if I do that overtly? And so a lot of this stuff is very walking the line, right? Just trying not to piss people off.
Yeah. Yes, and that's why I thought, one example I remember is Tenhaken sat in on a Muslim ritual. I forget, I think it was Ramadan. Yep. He sat in there, and I don't know if it was his second term where he'd already been reelected, or it was. He'd already been reelected. So maybe he felt like I can do that and show, like, I am a man of the people, I'm a man of all people, even a group of people who some people might think, well, that's going to hurt me politically if I'm associated with these people, which is why I always was a little confounded, knowing he has a heart and never having personally talked to him about the issue of LGBTQ. I just found it confounding that, especially after re-election, he still did not go to the parade.
I think what that says is that he didn't do that for political reasons.
He shows up in one thing and he shows up in another,
It had nothing to do with politics.
Yeah.
It's a conviction.
Yeah.
And you can agree with it or not agree with it. It's his conviction, and he wasn't going to change. So you kind of got to move on. And I kind of got tired of hearing it. It's like about the perception of him as being anti-gay or whatever, because he gave his reasons. He didn't lie about it. It wasn't a secret.
And we haven't heard from Christine why she wasn't there. You asked her if she was going to be there, and she didn't answer that.
She didn't
part
really
of the
answer
question.
the question, no.
And I'll just one more on this issue. Megan asked them if they're going to codify law in Sioux Falls to make it so just absolutely positively no business, no landowner, homeowner can discriminate. She said it's already well protected in the city laws. Jamie Smith just said, yes, we're going to codify to
I don't
solidify
think
it
I don't
more.
think either of them really had much background on that. Like,
Yeah. Okay.
honestly, I don't think that not that they didn't understand the question, but they didn't understand the context of the question.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, even though Megan gave them the context, it was still like, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
You know, even though Jamie said yes, I don't know that he actually knew
Sure.
exactly what it was.
Is there any issue where it seems like, wow, there's a gap here in how this leader is going to handle it and this leader is going to handle it, that you think really could tilt some votes? An issue and how they would handle it as mayor.
I think that Jamie has, as the campaign has gone on, has become more specific about saying that he's not going to support having any data centers in the community, in the boundaries of Sioux Falls, and you know,
That's a big issue.
Christine is not that defined on it. I would say that with some of the I have to read a little bit into this and just go from some of the conversations I have. But in terms of like urban development and redevelopment and housing and affordable housing, I think they have some differences there in terms of the degree to which government can be involved. What I would say is that the criticism of Jamie, and I asked them in the first round debate, was people say that you rely on talking about the legislature, a big smile, and a firm handshake. I'm Jamie, like me, vote for me. And that sometimes the nuances of the city policies are not as forthcoming. For instance, he talks about tri-share for daycare, which was a big topic for a couple of years. Paul Tenhaken financed a big study on childcare availability and everything in this community. And one of the solutions has always been this idea of tri-share, where the person, the employer, and the government, the city, come together to share the cost of providing affordable childcare. It's been done. It's a great concept. It didn't work here. And it didn't work here because the business community is not willing, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing, they just don't see the benefit of getting involved. It's always been pegged as a workforce development issue, like people can't work because they can't afford daycare. Well, if that was really a severe crisis, then business would get involved. They would find ways to help their employees get affordable childcare. It just doesn't happen. It used to happen. Citibank had a childcare and a pre-K, and I mean, these things happened at one point, and then they went away. So it's either a crisis or it's not a crisis. And if the economics don't follow the crisis, then it's not a crisis. When Jamie talks about tri-share, he says tri-share, and it ends there.
Okay. Meaning?
He's 2 years behind, at least, in the debate in terms of his knowledge base, or at least what he expresses or what he has researched. It's not that Christine is firing away statistics, but she has a pretty firm understanding of it. And I think that is a difference. When you talk about differences between them, Christine was on the city council for 8 years. That has a lot of advantages. It has some vulnerabilities that Jamie has chosen not to point out.
What are those vulnerabilities?
Well, I mean, one of the big ones, and it hasn't come up, and I hesitate to even bring it up other than in private conversations, is that the bunker ramp, the mural ramp, she voted for that. People have pointed that out on social media and that kind of thing, but Jamie hasn't. Like, I don't know why that is. I don't know whether it's not having a deep enough understanding of what led to that vote, that he's not comfortable bringing it up, because it's complex. And there are good things and bad things. But if I'm a candidate, I want her talking about that. You know what I mean? I want her talking about being a lobbyist. That's what, when she says her executive leadership, I don't want to be the person who's criticizing Christine here, but when you're in conversations with people in politics, what they would tell you is Christine talks about her executive leadership as, running these teams. She doesn't have a big team in what she does now. She's the executive director of the car dealers and the truck drivers, the trucking companies. She's a lobbyist.
She represents them.
Their interests in Pierre.
Yeah.
It's an association. Every association, that's what they do. If I'm Jamie, I would try and get her talking about that. They never do anything to get her off her message. She's got a strong message. She's got a great resume. She's got all these things that line up to make her a good candidate. Jamie has a bunch of them too. I don't know why it hasn't become more. I just want to point this out. You don't have to be negative campaigning and mudslinging to say, my opponent talks about executive leadership, but here is what it really is. Mm-hmm. Or when Jamie talks about executive leadership, he's talking about the Cub Scouts. Okay. Either side, if I was advising them, just having covered politics for a long time and some very, very contentious campaigns at every level and watched very professional people conduct these things, I'm a little surprised at the things that have not happened.
Interesting. Yeah.
That's a long way
to
that answer.
Well, maybe that's partly why Jamie lost to Kristi Noem, although he was really swimming upstream just by the nature of the state and how many Republicans there are here compared to Democrats.
That's a completely different
So
scenario.
he did see, but I do see parallels that he's just a positive guy. That is who he is in real life. I mean, I've seen him volunteer at Howard Field, just handing out stat sheets to us broadcasters. Like, oh, of course Jamie Smith's doing that.
He loves that.
He is a man of the people, and it's not a fake. It's genuine. But he's always smiling, and I think that's his approach to life, and that has appeared to be his approach to campaigning, and it got him, close-ish in the governor race. I mean, it wasn't 50-50, but it was.
Right.
It wasn't a land. He didn't.
No, he's clearly.
Anyway,
this is a conscious decision.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I don't think he doesn't know.
This is just. I'm going to go with my strengths. That's how I'm just going to pound the positive here.
I know there are people who are close with Jamie, or at least support him, who would tell him these things.
Yes.
Because I'm not, splitting the atom here. We're talking about politics. We're talking about practice.
Yeah.
It's just been surprising. That's all. I mean, good, bad, or indifferent. I don't know. He might win.
On the other
side, he could win. I'm not saying he can't win. The stuff with Doeden and Roden and the $100,000, that's the other one. If I'm Jamie, I'm bringing up the $100,000 from Dana Dykhouse, Danny Sanford, et al. Every chance I get.
Yeah, which, by the way, is partly my theory why we didn't see Christine in the Pride Parade, but she may have already gone and done that anyway. And from her angle, she did have the most votes the first time around.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel like
it
doesn't feel like, and I don't think she hasn't appeared to be attacking Jamie and whatever he
doesn't have
lacks.
To.
And that's what I was going to ask you about. It doesn't appear she has to. She had far more votes, and I'm going to guess it's going to be closer this time. But she hasn't had to. I guess
here's an unknown factor,
and maybe that's not her MO either.
Well, here's No, I don't think that's true.
She could be that way if she wanted. Okay.
Yes. The sort of unknown factor is something that I talk to people about that comes up. And the fact is, we've never had a woman as mayor. And there is still a psychological barrier there. And it's not even grumpy old dudes, although that may be part of it. It's women. If you look at, you can go down the list. Kristi Noem, Hillary Clinton, what's what's the senator from Massachusetts?
Liz.
Elizabeth
Warren.
Warren, thank you.
We did it.
Jeez, thank you. And Christine, it's like, and I this is unfounded, right? This is an unfair tag.
Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris.
Throw that in there.
Strong women get this unfair criticism of being bitches. I don't know how else to say it. She's too bitchy. I mean, it's absurd. If they were, and the criticism of all those women by women, often liberal women, because of their hair. If you made fun of a liberal woman, if I made fun of a liberal woman because of her hairstyle, I'd be in the circles I run in. I'd be dead, right? Why is it okay for a liberal woman to criticize a conservative woman's appearance?
I don't have an answer to that.
No, nobody does. It's just the way of the world, okay? That's just a factor that Christine has to deal with. I don't know how else to say it.
You don't know how big of a factor it is, but you think it is a factor.
I do.
Yeah. Well, it would be historical, certainly, if she did win, because she would be the first woman.
Yep.
And I think that is something. It's something, but it's not something. You know what I mean?
Right.
This city has never elected anything but white men, right?
Right.
To the mayoral chair.
Right.
So this will be interesting.
Yeah. It's a great race. We didn't talk about the council races, but the fact of the matter is that we brought this up earlier. I'm not trying to be harsh on either one. Every candidate in this race, for all the seats, pretty much, have been really quality candidates. The council runoffs are really wonderful. You have just some great candidates, great stories, different kinds of people from different backgrounds, different ethnicities. But all of them are just awesome. I'm not. This city, this election cycle is going to produce one of the best group of solid leaders that we have in some time. Not that the current council's bad, because they're not. But I just look at these people and I'm just blown away by all of them.
Yeah. Most intriguing city council seat race. Well, I'll give you a chance for one.
I'll probably pick the at-large because it's Vince Don against Oppenheimer, James Oppenheimer. Vince, his family are Vietnamese refugees. He's grew up here. He tells a great story about me being his personal hero.
Well, I'm surprised
you have to look
haven't
that
written
up.
about that.
He has, but Vince is a great candidate. He's a dynamic human being, very entrepreneurial. James Oppenheimer, very interesting guy. He's runs the YMCA. He's British, which is he's got a British accent, English accent, and so there's just that kind of weird. But they're great. They're both awesome. The two Zachs, Zach Akawi and Zach DeBoer, I love both those guys. Zach DeBoer is a guy who's been around working on issues of smart growth for a decade. A decade, and he's a smart guy. Zach Akawi is just, the stories about him are amazing. Again, another child of immigrants. I think he was actually born in Sudan, but he's a nurse, and the stories that people tell about him are just fabulous. These guys are products of Sioux Falls. They're products of our culture, and I recommend a column, for lack of a better term, an essay written by Nag Thak, I can't say her name correctly, another Vietnamese refugee whose parents were refugees, who she writes about just that. All these people, they're Sioux Falls stories, and they are inspirational and amazing, and I'm looking forward to this council getting to work and the new mayor getting to work and dealing with some of the big stuff we got to deal with.
I love how we, turned without really planning on doing this. Not that I am surprised, and by we I mean you. Turned this discussion about who's going to be the mayor of our next city into a discussion about our city.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's a great place to live. Best little city in America, my friend.
It's Tuesday, June 23rd.
Yes.
Early voting has been available if you want to do that. It matters. Do it. And I think we've done our part.
Yes, we have, sir. Thank you for having me. As
Patrick
usual.
Lalley, Sioux Falls Live editor and reporter, and 85-year veteran of covering politics in Sioux Falls and South Dakota. He knows what he's talking about. For video producer Cordell Wright, I'm John. Happy hour from the Orion Pub. Cheers.